Okay, it's been a long time, but you can do this. You can make a video. All right, also, I'm gonna keep looking here. It's a problem. Alrighty. Hello, book lovers. My name is Natalie. I love books, so let's talk about them. Alright, so this is my first video in a really, really long time. So I am feeling very awkward because I'm talking to myself in a camera. Also, I cannot help but look at myself in that same camera. So I'm trying to look at the lens, but you know, especially since it's a phone. So it's right there. Anyway, I thought I would start with the Booktube Newbie Tag. Because why not? Why did you start this channel? I like books. I like to talk about them. I have no one else to talk these books with because I love a huge range of books and not a lot of people love the same books. So I thought it would be fun. Why not? Right? What are some fun and unique things you can bring to BookTube? I don't know. You know, whenever I see this question, I'm like, this is one of those questions that you get like on interviews as well, where you're just like, I don't know, what do you me, I guess. I don't know that I have any like unique perspectives other than I think of things differently than some of the other people on here. Everybody thinks of things differently. Everyone has different perspective about books. But, you know, I don't know that there's anything unique. I hope my personality is fun. I'm not like a great videographer or anything. I'm not great at like editing or anything. I like to sit down and I like to talk books. So what are you most excited for about this new channel? Again, the talking about books, hopefully interaction. That's what I'm really looking for is, you know, some interaction regarding the books that I read and that kind of thing. So why do you love reading? Oh my gosh, I don't even know. I've been a reader since I was really little. You know, I was about in second grade when I read Matilda, and I just, that and my love of competition and my love of making reading competitive what inspired my love reading. But I love reading because it's escapist. You know, you can go anywhere in a book. You can learn anything from a book. If you know how to read, then you are, you know, you're set. If you can read, you're set. I always tell my kids this. I homeschool my kids. I always tell my kids this. If you can read, you can learn anything. Because there's a book about everything out there, even math, you know. So if you can read, you can learn anything. That's my opinion. So, and I love the escapist. Let me tell you, I love a good story. I don't care what kind of story it is. I don't care if it's romance, if it's fantasy, if it's, you know, suspense. I just love a good story, good you know, action-packed kind of thing. So, what book or series got you into reading? Matilda. I will say that till my dying day. Matilda was the book that I read, and I wanted to be like Matilda. I wanted to read all the books. There was another reason why I got really into reading, like a lot, but Matilda was the book that got me into reading. I loved that book. And then probably The Witches as a close second by Roald Dahl. I love that book too. So Matilda and The Witches by Roald Dahl. What questions would you ask your favorite YouTubers? I don't know. I'm not a big question person. I am quite a private person, and so, you know, I don't ask people a lot of questions about themselves, which then in turn makes me look really really conceited because I tend to talk about myself so I don't have to make other people talk about themselves just in case they don't want to. You know, what, again, I'm not sure that there's any questions that they have that I would have for them that they haven't already answered. Like, so, you know, a lot of my favorite booktubers will say what are, you know, their favorite books are. And that's something that I like to know. You know, or what book are you reading right now? That's, again, that's something that's out there for everybody. So, you know, I don't know that I have any questions per se. What challenges do you think starting a booktube channel will be the hardest to overcome? My nervousness at, you know, I'm one of those people that once I get going, I can keep going. But if I stop, if I lose momentum, that's it. So my nervousness and trying to find the time, I think, or being, you know, being a perfectionist and being like, oh, I have to have the perfect lighting. Like, I almost didn't sit down to do these videos, even though I brought all my books downstairs and everything, because in my opinion, the lighting wasn't good enough. So I'm a crazy person. So yeah, just consistency. I have a hard time with consistency and being nervous about things, and especially what social media is, even YouTube nowadays. It makes me a little bit nervous to put myself out there, because again, I am such a private person and I like to, you know, be left alone. But at the same time, obviously, I love to talk about books and I love to talk to people. So, you know, it's all good. When did you start reading? I mean, what kind of reading? This is such a strange question. Like, when did you start reading? When did you learn to read? Or when did you start, like, really, really reading? If, you know, I'm gonna assume the second one. So when did you start reading? Like, when did you really start reading? I started reading probably 3rd or 4th grade. I really got into it. 5th grade was when I discovered YA as it was in the 90s, in the late 80s, early 90s. So I'm an 80s child. I was born in like 81. Yes, I'm old. It's fine. Everything is fine. But I am kind of old. And so, you know, YA wasn't what it was back then like it is now. And, you know, I started like really getting into it in 5th grade because I discovered YA and I discovered like supernatural type things. I didn't realize until now that they were very, they were almost like a predecessor or a door opener for me into paranormal romance. Paranormal romance, try saying that 5 times fast. You know, but yeah, so that's when I really started getting into it. Probably around 5th grade, so around 10, 11, I couldn't get enough of books. I mean, I would read a lot before then too, because my mom would bring me home a lot of books from the thrift store because I was such an avid reader before then. But I don't remember like really always wanting to have a book in my hand until about 4th or 5th grade. So like I said, like 9, 10, 11, that kind of age. Where do you read? Where do I not read? I like to make sure that if I have a current book that I'm reading, that not only do I have that book, but that I have the ebook version. Not that I own, I use the library a lot. So if I already own the ebook version, then I'll get the physical copy from the library. And if I have the physical copy, I'll try and get the ebook version from the library. So that way I always have it with me. So, you know, you have 5 minutes, or, you know, I have kids, so I'm always taking them around to activities. So I like to have my book on my phone just in case I forgot it, or my Kindle or whatever. I am a super avid reader. I like to make sure I have access to my book everywhere. I used to be that kid that, you know, when my parents used to go grocery shopping, I begged to be left in the car with my book so I'd have like an hour to read by myself. It was wonderful. What kind of books do you like to read? I like to read everything. And I know some people say this and they don't mean it. Like, you look and you're like, oh, you know, they'll say, I like to read everything, but I won't touch romance. Or I like to read everything except I don't really touch sci-fi. No, I will read everything. I am currently reading a fantasy book. Previous to that, I read a romance book. I've got a couple of sci-fis in my TBR for this month, which I'll be doing a video on. I will read anything, nonfiction, if it appeals to me, just anything, self-help, just anything that appeals to me, anything I find fun. Sorry, I'm messing with my hair here. You know, anything that I like, basically. I honestly, there is not a book that doesn't appeal to me. I'm not really like, I read YA, I read young adult, I'll read middle grade, audiobooks, physical books, ebooks, I don't care. Read anything at all. So if you ever have a suggestion for me or anything, just go ahead and suggest it, because, you know, maybe I'll like it, maybe I won't. The books that I don't like, generally, there's, you know, there's something a little more ephemeral about it. I have to, you know, it's usually more about the writing is why I don't like it, rather than the subject matter, if that makes sense. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I really do appreciate it. I'm sorry that I keep looking to the side and at the camera. Again, I'm doing this on my phone. My camera's literally here, and then the, you know, it's just right there. So thank you for putting up with that as well. I appreciate it so much, and just have a great day. Thank you. Bye.